guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, The Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be doing some island book recommendations. So just in case you missed it, I will link my Mermaid Marathon announcement video up here in the cards for you guys. This is my next readathon coming up in just a week or two, and it is all themed around mermaids and pirates and ocean, beachy, and island vibes. One of the challenges for the readathon is an island book, or a book set on an island or near an island or partially on an island. So I've gathered a huge pile of some of my favorite island reads. I did not include any that weren't at least like a 3.5 star. I'm not including any mermaid island reads because I have a lot of mermaid recommendation videos coming out soon, and also ones that are already on my channel. On a mermaid island combo, then go check out some of those other recommendation videos or just stay tuned. But for now, we're going to talk about all the other books that are set on islands. I have a large majority. Some of them are like darker and spookier. Some of them are survival-y. Some of them are just the good oceany vibes. We've got a huge mix in here, so just sit back. So I wanted to start off with Revel by Marissa Gubbard. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. This is one that I recently read, and I haven't even talked about it in my wrap up yet, so stay tuned for that. May wrap up should be out here shortly. I physically read this one. I picked it up a few years ago purely because I was like, ooh, there might be mermaids in here. While there technically aren't mermaids, it still gives you all of those mermaid, oceany, islandy vibes that I really enjoy. So I wanted to put this one in here. So this is about a secretive island off the coast of Maine that you can't really get to very easily, and that is very secluded and sheltered, and our main character is on a mission to get there because her mother was born there and her mother recently passed away, and she's trying to find her grandma and more about her lineage. She makes it to the island. She is not welcomed and is pushed to immediately leave, but there are things that kind of keep her in place, and she's kind of drawn to this mysterious land. There are ancient symbols everywhere. There are strange things that begin happening. She meets some interesting characters that she really enjoys and makes friends with, and then Delia learns that Trespass Island is home to more than just humans. There might be monsters here. So this has so many good vibes. It was so fun. It was a little bit action oriented, kind of reminded me of Undertow a little bit, where there's like mysterious creatures and things. It's really fun. It's definitely old school YA, but I really had a great time with it, and I was just really surprised. So highly recommend. Taking a completely different turn is Jane Unlimited by Christian Kishore. Sorry for these shiny covers. My ring light is not enjoying them. This one is set on a mysterious island mansion. Our main character is Jane. Her aunt has recently passed away, and that was her caregiver, and she is invited to this elaborate gala mansion on this mysterious island, and she of course decides to go because her aunt said that if anyone ever invites you to this particular mansion, promise me you'll go. So when she gets there, the house slash mansion gives her 5 choices, and this will change the course of her life. I did this one on audio because Rebecca Soler narrates it, and I really enjoyed it. This is a very bizarre kind of a book. One thing I will note that the audio doesn't really define really well is that you have these sections where you have the first part of the story, and then basically the story starts over and you get a new section. So there's basically like 5 different timelines that you're following, and I got halfway through this book before I realized that was happening, so I had to start it over. So basically she gets to choose between these 5 different timelines, how she wants to live her life. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very fun and very unique, and it's definitely set on an island. Then we have Sawkill Girls by Claire Legrand. I love this book so much. I literally want to reread it all the time. This one does have slightly spookier, creepier vibes. I do believe it's considered a horror. I think horror gets a bad rap because I originally thought horror was going to just be like bloody, gory, terrifying books. And that's not really the case. They just kind of have creepy, slightly darker elements about them. This is definitely young adult, so it's not too scary. So you're following 3 girls in this story, and all of their stories kind of come together on the island of Sawkill Rock. The kids on this island kind of whisper about monsters being legendary on the island, and supposedly girls are getting stolen away and disappearing into the woods. I don't want to say too much more because I don't want to give it away, but it is so good. It is so well tied together. It's the perfect amount of creepy without being super scary. It's just really, really well written, and the audio also for this one is amazing. Another one of my favorite books, and again, same as Sawkill Girls, this one has creepier, spookier vibes. It does have a little bit of trigger warnings for some like animal cruelty because they talk about vivisection, where they're dissecting live animals and rights behind that and whether it's right or wrong. So it's a little bit twisted in the beginning, just for a tiny little bit. Nothing too scary again, but they does have some darker subject matter in here. This is a retelling of Island of Dr. Moreau. So our main character, her dad is Dr. Moreau, and she thinks that he has passed away. Juliet wants to be a doctor like her dad, and she's always wanted to know more about him. And when she finds out that her father might still be alive on this mysterious island, she follows a young man to go to this island and see if he's there. When she gets there, she finds her father and discovers that he has been experimenting on animals that make them seem and talk human, but they have started to kill off some of the island's inhabitants, and there's just all this mystery and crazy things involved. I love this book so much. It was so good. The ending in this one is incredible. It's part of a trilogy. The audio is absolutely phenomenal. Highly recommend it. It's really good for the fall as well, but this will give you the island vibe. Back to more traditionally island books. We have We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This is making a comeback I've seen on Instagram and TikTok because it's such a great book. So this is a contemporary young adult thriller. This is a beautiful, wealthy family that lives on a private island. There has been an accident, and basically you're getting the perspective of what happened with this incident and accident through one character, and you're kind of traveling through to see what's true, to see if her mind is in the right place or if it's not, and you're piecing through what has happened on this island with this family. So good. I might be due for a reread. I don't think I've done this one on audio, so I might do this for the readathon actually, just to see how the audio is. I loved this book, and I've heard it's got a prequel now, which I'm not sure if it'll go as well, just because this was such a good one and done short book. It's only 220 pages, so it's perfect for the readathon if you're wanting something kind of thrillery and fast-paced, but definitely not scary or anything like that. Then we have Three Dark Crowns by Kendar Blake. Again, another one of my all-time favorite books. A really great series as well, but in particular this book. So you're on the island of Finburn, and you're following three sisters who have been born and raised to be the next queen, but they have to kill each other to become the next queen. So they've each been raised separately on different parts of the island, and they each have their own skill, like own magical ability, or they're finding their magical abilities, and they're going to use them to compete and kill their sisters. I think this book often gets pitched wrong because I think people feel like the book is going to be about them hating and killing each other and just like fast-paced fighting, and it's not. You're really learning about the lives of the three sisters, the lore behind this matriarchy, and them, how they feel about each other, how their lives have been different, where they've grown up, their different like mentors and things like that. It's got a lot of magical things in here. There's some good romance in here as well. I really enjoyed it, but definitely keep in mind that it's a slower paced book. You're really building the world in this series. Again, audio is absolutely fantastic, and the ending in this one is super great. Okay, next up, I'm going to talk about 4 Peter Pan retellings, because obviously Neverland is an island, and you're also going to get pirates in all of these, and some of them have mermaids. So I know I'm not going to talk about mermaid heavy books, but there are mermaids present in here, so this can work for several categories. So, Peter and the Starcatchers by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson. This is a middle grade series. I think it's got 5 books in the series. It's just a retelling slash background on how Peter Pan happened and like what led up to everything. So magical, super fun. It's just beautiful. There's a lot about like catching stardust and magic, and there's the fairies. There's all the goodness about the original in here added on to with all this other fun, wonderful things. So many fun characters. This one reads kind of like a Disney movie. It is middle grade, but I highly recommend it to everyone. And this one on audio is narrated by Jim Dale, who does the Harry Potter series, and he is perfection for this. It's one of my husband's favorite series as well. So definitely a good one, but it is a little bit on the longer side. Then we have Tiger Lily by Jodi Lynn Anderson. So this one is following Tiger Lily, so you're getting an entirely different perspective. She's basically in love with Peter Pan, and she's kind of watching him with Wendy and talking about their relationship and how it all goes. This one is very like heartfelt and heart aching, and just a different look at the story. Very, very different than the other ones I'm talking about. I so enjoyed this one though. It was really well written. It's had a really cool different perspective on Peter Pan from Tiger Lily's point of view. So, Alias Hook by Lisa Jensen. This is an adult retelling slash backstory on Captain Hook. This does have a little bit of spiciness in it, slightly more adult content. I super enjoyed this. It's a little bit more of a slow burn. You're basically following like Captain Hook as a young man and kind of what led him to Peter Pan and the Lost Boys and all that kind of stuff. So you're getting a different perspective in here. I love a good villainous backstory. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really lovely and well written and just so fascinating to read about. One of my favorites and one of the least popular ones I've seen. Then we have Lost Boy by Christina Henry. This one again is kind of a backstory on Captain Hook. This one is a more scary, slightly horror-esque novel. Not super horror-esque, but it's very dark. I wouldn't say it scared me at all, but it is really dark. I really enjoy Christina Henry's writing. This one's great for the readathon because it's very short. In this one, Peter Pan is not the character you've grown up with. He is kind of a little bit of a brat and a monster. I mean, Peter Pan's always a brat, but he's very dark in this one. So you're following him becoming friends with Captain Hook before he was Captain Hook, and being with the Lost Boys, how the gang all came together, all that kind of stuff. So again, a little bit of a prequel here. Very dark, really great though. I super enjoyed this one, so highly recommend. Then we have Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. So this one is, as you may know, about an abandoned orphanage on a mysterious island, and our main character travels there with his dad, and he kind of wants to find out more about his grandfather who has just passed away, and his grandfather has all these mysterious pictures and things from his childhood and all these elaborate wild stories, and so he goes to this island to find out what's going on, and a lot of mysterious things occur with some peculiar children. I really enjoyed this book. I would recommend physically reading it because you're going to get all of these pictures in here that kind of go with the story. It seems like it's going to be scary, but it is not. It's not a scary read at all. It's got an old kind of vintagey magical vibe about it. I really enjoyed this. This is one of the series on my unfinished list. I read this like 4 or 5 years ago, and I need to continue on to see if I love the rest of them. I really enjoyed the movie for this as well, even though it didn't entirely follow it. Yeah, but this one's set on an island, so if you haven't read this yet, very popular. Check it out. Next are a couple that I don't own, but I recently read. So we have Cut Off. I so enjoyed reading this during Hikeathon. I physically read this. It's a newer YA book. I think it's only about 2 years old. So this is about a bunch of teens that are in a reality show. They're actually on an island and they're trying to survive. They're not going to necessarily die, or they don't think anyway, but basically they're trying to survive as long as they can, and when they feel like they can't anymore, they hit a button and they're taken off the island. While this is happening, the viewers at home can virtually watch, and they can kind of see and feel all the things the characters are going through. So it's a little bit survival, a little bit regular reality show. And during the game, when the character goes to press the button to leave, nothing happens, and they kind of find out that they are literally cut off from the show, and they have to kind of figure out why, and they're on this island. And it's really great. It took crazy turns that I was not expecting. I so enjoyed it. It was just such a delightful read. It did some things that were just really fun, and you're on this island this whole time, so you're getting like survival-y, islandy vibes, and it's just really great. I had some really great reads for the Hikeathon that I really enjoyed, and this was one of them. Next up, we have Bloom by Kenneth Opel. This one has slightly of a younger YA, almost middle grade vibe about it. So you're following, again, I think 3 teenagers. They're on an island, and these mysterious rains start happening that bring these seeds, and these seeds produce these grasses and plants that start to kind of like take over farmlands. Everyone's trying to figure out what's happening and what's causing it, and then all of these crazy things start happening. So I really enjoyed this one. It's the first in a series. I need to read the next 2. This is a really good audiobook, and it's super short. Then we have another weird one, Midwinter Blood by Marcus Sedgwick. So this one actually won a Prince Award in Young Adult Literature. I can see why. It's definitely very strange. So this one is 2073 on a remote and secretive island of the blessed, where rumor has it that no one ages and no children are born. A visitor arrives. He is greeted warmly, but something is wrong. Something is hidden on the far side of the island, and something, as if in a dream, he cannot reach. And so it's under the light of the waxing and waning moon, 7 stories unfold, and the story of an archaeologist who unearths a mysterious artifact, of an airman who finds himself far from home, of a painter, a ghost, a vampire, and a Viking, and the story of love so primal and passionate it slips the bounds of time. This is the Midwinter Blood. This one has just different timelines that you're following and kind of piecing together the mystery of the island. Lots of different cast of characters. So enjoyed it. The audio was really good, and it's also very short. Next we have Nightfall by Jake Halpern. I only gave this one, I think, 3 or 3.5 stars. But I still kind of think about it, and I really still had a good time reading it, even though the ending left something a little bit wanting. So on this one, and you get this cool map of the island, this one is on Marin's Island, and sunrise doesn't come every 24 hours, it comes every 28 years. So when the sun is just a sliver of light on the horizon, the weather is turning cold and the shadows are growing long. Because the sunset triggers the tide to roll out hundreds of miles, the islanders are frantically preparing to sail south, where they will all wait out the long night. Marin and her twin brother help their anxious parents ready the house for departure. Locks have to be taken off doors, furniture must be arranged, and tables must be set. The rituals are puzzling and bizarre, and none of the adults in town will discuss why it has to be done this way. Just as the ships are about to sail, a teenage boy goes missing. The twins' friend and Marin and Kara are the only ones who know the truth about where he has gone, and the only way to rescue him is by doing it themselves. But the night is falling, their island is changing, and it may be too late. So this one's really fun. It's not as creepy scary as I was wanting it to, but it's got enough of that in there. Still super enjoyable. I have the next book, but I think it takes place on a different island actually. So I'm going to read that sometime soon, but this one was good. The narrator was very good as well. Now I have a duology that you can read in any order, honestly. So Salt and Storm, which I read for Mermaid Marathon 2 years ago. Absolutely loved it. This one also set on an island. No mermaids, but we've got witches, which is really fun. So this is set on Prince Island, and there are the witches of Prince Island. And they're called the Row Witches, and basically it is their job kind of take care of and grant help for people and cast spells and things to help people. But Avery has been kept away from this island by her mother, and she is wanting to go back and learn more about her heritage. So basically she goes to this island to kind of find some things about her, and she gets a scary nightmare that predicts some things. This is a terrible description. It's really good. It's got all the oceany vibes that you're wanting, but we've got witchy goodness in here. It's dark, it's heartbreaking, it's lovely. I really, really enjoyed it. Also part of the duology, which is technically came out second, but it's technically a prequel. In my opinion, you can read them either way. I don't think it'll mess anything up. So in this one, you're following, I believe, Avery's mother when she was a teenager, but you're also following this mysterious boy who has to leave this island. He knows the mother and he has to leave. And we've got a really cool heist situation in here. So our main character is considered a blank, which means magic can't affect him, so people do not trust him. And so he leaves the island and kind of tries to hide this about himself so that he won't be captured or used. And he winds up becoming a part of this group to help people steal things because magic can't be used against him, so he can get away with a lot of things. And it's kind of got a slight Six of Crows vibe. It's really great. Not all of the book takes place on the island, but the beginning and the end do. I really enjoyed this one. Kendall Culper's writing is fantastic. Next we have Nil by Lynn Matson. I read this one for Hikeathon last year. This one is so good. Gives you all those islandy, magical, survival-y reads that you want. This is the island of Nil. Doesn't exist. Kids wind up there. They have 365 days to figure out how to leave. Otherwise, they don't make it. Or so they think. So we're following Charlie, who winds up on Nil, and she kind of has to get introduced to everything, what's happening, learn all the rules. It's got a little bit of a Maze Runner vibe because of that, because she kind of wakes up on this island. She doesn't know what's going on. It's really magical. It's really islandy. It's super fun. Highly recommend. Then we have Solstice, another one I read for Hikeathon, but this year, super enjoyed this one. This is a quick short read, so highly recommend. This one is set on an exclusive island, I think in the Bahamas or the Caribbean, which is a tropical island somewhere, and this big like music mogul is hosting a music event there, and he gets all these like ritzy rich kids and teens and influencers to come to this music festival, and he promises there's going to be all this like glamorous glamping and helicopters to fly on and yachts to ride. And our main character is not rich, but her friend is, and her dad pays for her to go, and she sneaks off from her house to go with her friend to this island. When they get there, nothing is as it's supposed to be. There looks like there's nowhere to sleep, there's no food, they're not sure if there's music, and they kind of have to survive. This one was so much fun. It took some turns, again, that I wasn't expecting. We had some things that was just so fun. I had a blast reading this the entire time, and I was so glad that I picked it up. So great one for Mermaid Marathon. Then we have House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. This one, unfortunately, is not a mermaid book like a lot of people believe it is based on the cover, but you're getting all those oceany magical vibes that you're wanting. So we have Annalie. She lives a sheltered life at the Highmore Manor by the sea. I'm not entirely sure if this is on an island, but I'm going to put it in here just in case. This is basically a 12 Dancing Princess retelling. If you haven't read the original story, I highly recommend it. It's really short. One of my favorite fairy tales. So basically the original story is that there are 12 princesses kind of sheltered, and they kind of sneak off and find this magical place where they can go dancing. And they go dancing all night, and their shoes get torn up, and then they can come home and no one notices. And the only reason that anyone can tell is that all of them are exhausted and their shoes are all ruined. And the king finds out, and he tries to figure out why their shoes are getting ruined, and he can't do it. And so he hires like young men and suitors to come in and try to solve the mystery. So that's basically a retelling of this, and it's got more islandy, oceany vibes. We've got some magical-y stuff in there. I really want to reread this one because I loved it. Erin A. Craig is a fabulous writer, and this one's perfect for Mermaid Marathon because although there are no mermaids, there's lots of like oceany goodness in here. And it's got a little bit of a slightly spookier eerie sense about it as well. And then lastly is The Grace Year. So I talked about this one in my survival read recommendations. I did have a little island section on there as well. So this one is set, I believe, on an island or near an island, and the village of this island believe that when girls turn, I think 17 or 18, they elude this like what they think is kind of a magical aura about them that lures men in too intensely. So they send all their girls off for a year to kind of purge this thing that happens to them, and the girls all have to go and live and kind of survive for a year off by themselves. That part, I believe, is on an island. It has kind of like the village style vibes about it. It does have some cattiness and darker things that I didn't fully enjoy, but overall the book was done so well. It was so mysterious. You're trying to figure out whether the girls actually do have this like essence about them or whether it's been made up as a way to kind of control girls as they become teenagers. And it is really good. The ending is very, very surprising and not what you would expect. It's kind of a Lord of the Flies retelling, but with females. And it's definitely got some darker survival-esque things in here. Somewhat brutal, but I really enjoyed it. It was done really well. Highly recommend. And we've got 3 classics. I don't recommend classics for readathons, but if you're a quick reader and you want to try it out, you can go for it. Again, we talked about Peter Pan earlier, but you could do Peter Pan, obviously set on Neverland, which is an island for majority of it. This is a shorter one, so you can go through it fairly fast or try an audio. We've got Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevens. This one is a little bit more of an intense read as far as children's classics goes. It's fairly descriptive. Again, not crazy long, but a little bit wordy, we'll put it that way. And we got pirates in here as well. And we have Anne of Green Gables, which is set on Prince Edward Island, following an orphan girl in her new home. A lovely story. I really need to reread this sometime soon because I need to read the rest of Anne's story as well. So those are some different options if you want to mix it up. Okay, you guys, I know this video was super long. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if any of these appealed to you. I have lots more recommendations coming your way, both via YouTube and Instagram. So be sure and follow me at The Brightside Girl for more recommendations. And I'm having fun filming all these videos for you guys. Let me know some of your favorite island reads down below in the comments, and I will see you guys next time on The Bright Side.